Hello 11th class students, welcome in another video of some basic concept of the chemistry. In this video we will again continue the chapter and learn about some other important laws of chemical combinations. In our previous video we have studied about some laws. Let's see which law we have last time discussed. Last time we have discussed the law of multiple or simple proportion. Law of simple or multiple proportion, students, says that whenever two compounds, see here, whenever two compounds combine together to form more than two compounds or more than one compound, then the different masses of one element that combines with fixed mass of the other bears a simple whole number ratio. We have discussed it in detail in our previous video, but now in this video let's start with the new law of chemical combination, that is law of reciprocal proportion. This law was our simple or multiple proportion, but now the next law that we are going to study is law of reciprocal proportion. But before starting the reciprocal proportion, here remember that two compounds are needed in simple or multiple proportion law, because in reciprocal proportion there will be three elements will be there. Let's see how. First of all, see the statement of the law of reciprocal proportion. When two different elements combine separately with a fixed mass of third element, the mass of the third element is fixed. When two elements combine separately with a fixed mass of third element, then the ratio of masses in which they do so, the ratio in which they are combining with the fixed mass of the third element, then the masses in which they do so bears a small whole number ratio, a small whole number ratio to the ratio of the masses in which they themselves combine. Now it is a little bit of confusion is there, so it will you will understand it when we solve some questions or whenever we understand it in detail. First of all, once again see the statement of the law of reciprocal proportion, that whenever two elements combine separately with the fixed mass of the third element, that means total three elements are required, two elements which are combining and one whose mass is fixed with whom they are both the combining with the fixed mass of the third element, then the ratio of the masses in which they do so bears a simple whole number ratio to the ratio, that means again the ratio of the ratios, that bear a simple whole number ratio to the ratios of masses in which they themselves combine. A little bit confusing, let's understand it with an example. We take here two different elements, that is one element is carbon, and second element is sulfur, and here the fixed mass of the third element we take oxygen. So carbon, sulfur and oxygen. Now you know when carbon combines with oxygen, then they will form CO2, and whenever sulfur combines with oxygen, it will form sulfur dioxide, that is SO2. Now according to our law, students, see, whenever two elements carbon and sulfur separately reacts with a fixed mass of the third element, they are separately reacting. Carbon is reacting with oxygen, fixed mass, and sulfur is also reacting with oxygen, fixed mass. They are separately combined with the fixed mass of the third element. Then the ratio of the masses in which they do so. Now see the ratio of the masses So here we know that the mass of the carbon is 12, that of the sulfur is 32 and oxygen is 16. So in these masses, when they combining, let's see their ratio by masses. Carbon is 12, ratio oxygen is, here 2 oxygens and 1 oxygen is equal to 16, so 12 is to 32. And in sulfur dioxide, sulfur is 32 and oxygen SO2, 1 oxygen 16 and 2 oxygen will equal to again 32. So here the ratio is 12 is to 32 and here the ratio is 32 is to 32. Now let's go to the refer the statement. Ratio of the masses in which they do so, that means they are combining with the third fixed mass of the element in the ratio of 12 is to 32 and 32 is to 32. In which they do so bear a small whole number ratio. It will bear a small whole. So here see what is the ratio of the carbon and sulfur. Here carbon is 12 and sulfur is 32. So the ratio of the carbon and sulfur is 12 is to 32, and if we get the simple whole number ratio, then it will be if we divide both the side by 4, then 4 3s are 12 and 4 8s are 32. So the ratio of the carbon and sulfur, the amount of the carbon and sulfur which is combining with the fixed mass of the third element, their ratio is 3 is to 8. Here we can see their ratio is 3 is to 8. Now see the next statement. Whole number ratio to the ratio of the masses in which they themselves combine. They themselves combine, that means whenever carbon and sulfur combines together. So whenever carbon and sulfurs combine together, they form CS2 carbon disulfide. Now see the ratio of the carbon and sulfur. Here carbon is 12 and only one carbon is here, and sulfur is 32 but 2 sulfur atoms are there, so it will be 64. And here this ratio is C, carbon and sulfur ratio is 3 is to 8. But here we see that the ratio of the carbon and sulfur is 12 is to 64. We write here 12 is to 64. And now student, if we see the simplest ratio and if we divide them both the side by 4, then we get here 3 is to 16. Now students, the time to understand very clearly that this is the ratio of the carbon and sulfur they are combining with themselves, and this is the ratio in which the carbon and sulfur separately combined with the third element, that is oxygen. Now according to our law, with the masses in which they do so bears a simple whole number ratio to the ratio of the masses in which they themselves combine. So see, let's see the ratio of this ratio to this ratio, the ratio in which they are combining separately and the ratio in which they are combining with themselves. Is it a simple whole number ratio or no? So students, in order to see this, we see here 3 is to 3 is to 8 upon 3 is to 16. We have to find the ratio of the both ratios. So students, this 3 will cut this 3 and this 8, 8 to the 16 and 2 will go in the numerator portion. So it will be 2 upon 1 or 2:1. This is the simple whole number ratio. This is the ratio of the ratios. So student, this was the example of the law of reciprocal proportion. I hope you have understand all that what is law of reciprocal proportion. Let's take another example and try to understand this law. But in order to understand, first of all, you have to remember the statement of the law very carefully, students, because the statements of the both law is a little confusing. That is law of simple proportion or law of reciprocal proportion. In law of simple proportion, only 2 elements are required, but whenever you hear about the 3 elements, the combination of 2 elements with 3 different elements, then you must guess that the question is regarding the law of reciprocal proportion. So let's take another example. Let's take 2 different compounds, that is sulfur and oxygen. These are the 2 different compounds. They are combining with the fixed mass of the third compound, that is hydrogen. 2 molecules of hydrogen combined with sulfur and also with the oxygen. Whenever student sulfur combines together with the hydrogen, it forms H2S or hydrogen sulfide gas. And whenever oxygen combines with hydrogen, they form H2O, water. You know it very well. Now see, according to our definition, whenever two elements, that means sulfur and oxygen, separately combine separately with a fixed mass of the third element, that is hydrogen, then the ratio of the masses. Now see, what is the ratio of the masses? We have seen that the mass of the sulfur is 32, that of the oxygen is 16 and that of the hydrogen is 1. So here 2 hydrogens, that means 2:2 sulfur 32, and here hydrogen again 2:2 oxygen 16, so 2:16. Now the masses of these 2 substances or 2 elements which are combining is here, we can say 32:16. So carbon, sulfur with oxygen, their ratio is, sulfur is here 32 and oxygen is 16. So ratio of sulfur and oxygen, that is combining with the hydrogen third element with the fixed mass, is 32:16. Now see the ratio in which they combine with themselves. So students, whenever sulfur and oxygen combines together, they form SO2. Here sulfur is 32 and oxygen, 2 oxygens are there and 1 oxygen is equal to 16. That means oxygen is also 32. So students, their combining ratio is 32:32, or we can say 1:1. Here their simple ratio is 1:1. And here if we divide them both by 16, then 16 ones are 16, 16 twos are 32, that means 2:1. It is the simple whole number ratio. Now see the ratios of the ratio. How? So see, whenever we take the ratios of the ratio, then it is 2:1, 2/1 or 2:1 upon 1/1 will be equal to 2/1, that is 2:1. So students, it is also again the ratio of the masses is a simple whole number ratio. This is all about the our law of reciprocal proportion. Next law students in this chapter is Gay-Lussac's law of combining gases. This law is nothing but very easy law. Let's see the statement of this law. The statement of this law says that when gases react together, they do so in volume. Their volume is considered and not their weight and any other property. They do so in volume, which bears a simple whole number ratio to one another. That means their volume bears a simple whole number ratio to one another and to the volume of the product. The ratio of the gases that are combining together and to the volume of the gases that is produced. If it is gas, the product which is producing, if it is gas, because we don't take liquid or solid in this case, this law is purely related to the gases only. Okay, so when gases react, they do so in volume, which bears a simple whole number ratio to one another. They bear a simple whole number ratio to first of all one another, which are combining together, and then to the product which is forming. If gaseous, if the product is gaseous, then they will bear the simple whole number ratio. Let's understand it that how this law is applicable. For example, if we take example of the hydrogen gas H2 combining with Cl2 and forming HCl gas, hydrochloride gas. So here if we balance this reaction, then one volume of hydrogen combining with one volume of the chlorine and they are forming two volume of the hydrochloride gas. So here 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 and here is already 2 volume of the hydrochloric gas is forming. So this law is applicable only up to the extent of the gaseous products are formed. So students, let's understand this law with one example. Let's take one simple question. The question is that by burning of 100 ml of methane gas, by burning of 100 ml of methane gas, that is CH4, produces CO2 and H2O. Then in this question student, we have to find find the volume the question is that find the volume of O2 were required and CO2 produced. Now say students, in this question the volume of the reacting gas is given, that is methane gas 100 ml, but we have which is on burning, that means the combination with oxygen. So whenever methane is burning in presence of air, it is producing carbon dioxide and water. So we have to find that how much amount of the oxygen is required in this reaction and how much amount of the carbon dioxide, that what volume of carbon dioxide is producing. We have not asked about the volume of the water. What is the reason behind this? Yes, the reason behind this is that this law is only applicable for the gaseous state, not for the liquid, and water is in liquid state. So let's first of all students, in order to solve this type of question, we have to write the balanced chemical equation of the reaction. So here when CH4 combines with O2 or oxygen, they are producing CO2 and water. This is a skeletal reaction. In this is in gaseous state, oxygen is also in gaseous state, CO2 is also in gaseous state, but water is in liquid state. So we have not to consider the water. So students, now in order to make the reaction balance, we have to balance this equation. Here 4 hydrogens are there and here 2 hydrogens are there only. So in order to make the hydrogen balance, we will put 2 here. Now carbon is balanced, hydrogen is balanced, but oxygen 2 to the 4 oxygens are there, so we will put 2 here. Now this equation is completely balanced. Now see students, according to our Gay-Lussac's law of combining gaseous volumes, if we see here, then 1 volume of methane combining with 2 volume of oxygen here and 1 volume of carbon dioxide is producing. That means 1 volume of methane producing 1 volume of carbon dioxide, but oxygen is required in amount of 2 times. 2 volume of oxygen is required. Let's see, if it is 1 volume, then it will 2 volume, and this is also 1 volume carbon. If it is 100 ml, then what will be the amount of the oxygen? It will be 200 ml in the same ratio as a ratio in the reaction, and here it will also 100 ml because 1 volume is produced there. So in this equation we can clearly say students that 100 ml of the methane gas, if we have to burn the 100 ml of the methane gas, we required 200 ml of the oxygen and 100 ml of carbon dioxide will produce. The volume of the water is not considered because it is in liquid state. So this is very simple law. By using this law we can calculate the volume of the reactant and some products. Let's see another example students related to this law. Let's see the next question. The question is that when nitrogen reacts with hydrogen, they produces ammonia gas. When nitrogen N2 reacts with hydrogen, that is H2, they produce NH3, that is ammonia gas. Now this is a reversible reaction because ammonia can easily break down into nitrogen and hydrogen. So if we make this equation balance, then hydrogen here, 2 hydrogen here and nitrogen 2, that means 2 and here 3 to the 6. So 3 to the 6. Now see the question. So the question can be asked the students, suppose if we have 60 ml of nitrogen and same 60 ml of hydrogen, they are combining together and we have asked to show the composition of the resultant product, that what product will form, and we have to show its composition, that what amount or what volume will be there of the products, and will the whole reactant will react or will something left with us. So let's see, according to our Gay-Lussac's law of combining volume, according to this equation students, we can see here that one volume of nitrogen is combining with 3 volume of hydrogen and 2 volume of ammonia is forming. So if 60 ml of the nitrogen is combined, we have 60 ml of the nitrogen, then it will the amount of the hydrogen required will be 3 times as that of the nitrogen. So 180 ml, but do we have 180 ml hydrogen? No, we have only 60 ml hydrogen. But in order to completely react with the 60 ml nitrogen, we will require 180 ml of the hydrogen gas. So we will go in reverse direction. In order to go in reverse direction, let's see, we have only 60 ml of hydrogen gas, and in order to combine with the 60 ml of hydrogen gas, how much amount of the nitrogen gas will require? It will be 1/3 of the hydrogen gas. So 1/3 of the 60 will be 20. So 20 ml of the nitrogen will combine with 60 ml of the hydrogen in order to form 2 volume of the ammonia. That means twice it will be equal to, no, it will not be equal to 20, it will be equal to twice of the volume. If 1 is equal to 20, then 2 will equal to 40. It will be 40 ml. The volume of the ammonia form will be 40. So the composition in the end, that we will have 40 ml NH3 ammonia, and what is the next composition? Do we have nitrogen or hydrogen left? Does all the nitrogen get reacted? No, only 20 ml of the nitrogen get reacted with the 60 ml of the hydrogen. So we have left over the 40 ml of the nitrogen gas. So and we have 40 ml of N2 gas. So this is clear according to the Gay-Lussac's law of combining of gaseous volume, that we can easily find. Now students, if we don't have sufficient amount of any one of the reactant, that reactant is known as limiting reagent. We will discuss it in our later videos. So this is the example of the Gay-Lussac's law of combining gaseous volumes. Now let's see our next and the last law, that is Avogadro's hypothesis. Avogadro's hypothesis or Avogadro's law says that remaining the temperature, pressure and all the physical conditions constant. See, remaining or keeping temperature, pressure or all other physical conditions constant, pressure and physical conditions, all the physical conditions constant, then the equal volume of the gases contains the equal number of molecules in them. Let's understand them in this law with an example, that if we taken a jar of 100 ml and inside this we have taken 100 ml CO2, because the capacity of the jar is 100 ml, so the volume of the gases will also be 100 ml. Because gases do not have their own fixed volume, the volume of the gases is always equal to the volume of the container in which they are kept. So students, if we took 100 ml of the CO2 and suppose this contains X number of molecules, the temperature and pressure and all other physical conditions remains constant. Now in second cases, we have took the same 100 ml jar and in this jar we have taken, because the capacity of the jar is 100 ml, so we have taken 100 ml oxygen. Here CO2 gas was there and in the second jar we have took 100 ml of the oxygen. Remaining the temperature, pressure and all the physical conditions constant, the amount or the number of the molecules in this gas will also be X. That is the law of Avogadro. Avogadro possessed this law. That is why on honor of the Avogadro, this law is known as Avogadro's hypothesis. So if you expand this law, students, then if we take here, instead of 100 ml taking CO2, if we take 50 ml, we can say if 50 ml is taken, then the total number of molecules will be X by 2, because the volume is reduced to half. And in the same way, if we reduce the quantity here also 50 ml, then its number of molecule will also be X by 2. Just opposite to this, if we increase the volume of the container and we take it 200 ml, then the number of molecule will be twice of the X, 2x. So here a conclusion comes, students, that the number of molecules is directly proportional to the volume of the gases. So the Avogadro law can also be stated as the number of molecules of the gases are directly proportional to volume of the gas, or volume of the gas is directly proportional to number of molecules of the gas. This was the Avogadro law. In our next video, we will start a new topic, that is mole concept, and there are so many other basic concepts in chemistry. We will discuss all them in our next video.